We come together for a moment out of time in a place made holy by our presence, to celebrate what is deepest and most true, to honor the beauty of our own heart's longing, to cultivate wonder, imagination, and the courage to act, and to care for one another. Please light your chalice. Our common chalice is now lit.
Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of disbelieving, ours is no yet again of despair. Come yet again, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of disbelieving, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan, whoever is leaving, ours is no caravan, whoever is leaving, ours is no caravan, of disbelieving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Welcome to the Church of the Larger Fellowship. I'm Kevin Jago, one of your Learning Fellows. This week, we continue our theme of resistance, a perfect place to start a new year. Lynn is going to help us explore the tension in our relationship to resistance, our resistance of resistance itself at times, and how we move forward through creation. As we sit at our keyboards or with mobile screens almost anywhere, we are all together. Those watching on Sunday and those who may be watching months from now, we are joined together for worship across both space and time. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever the color of your skin or your country of origin, wherever and whenever on the planet you are at this very moment, whatever your gender, however you define family, and whatever the source of your faith, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together.
Let us now pause for a moment of deepening together as a community, for we each carry within us joys that are too great for one heart to hold, sorrows that are too much for one heart to endure, local and world events which call upon us to bear witness. Let us begin by recalling the joys, whatever you may be celebrating or whatever evokes a feeling of happiness or peace for you or for others. Now let us recall our concerns and sorrows, whatever you or the world may be holding that is in need of our healing and caring thoughts. In the heart of love and in the spirit of prayer, we give thanks for this time together, where joys can be magnified and sorrows can be lessened. Blessed be.
Let us now enter into a time of awareness within ourselves and connection beyond boundaries. Connection to one another, connection to that interdependent web of life of which we are but one small thread. In this time of prayerful meditation, we think of all those other lives that connect to ours, and the lives that connect to those, and on and on. As we breathe in, we are connected. As we breathe out, we are connected. We breathe in, we breathe out. Remembering our connection to all that is. Our connections make us strong and vulnerable all at once. We find sources of resistance within ourselves, just as we find resources to resist the world beyond us. Many times we find both of these at once. We resist change, just as we seek it. Today, in this present moment, may we hold both the impulse for change and the fear of what that may bring, all at once. We remember the connections we have to all of those impacted by disaster, both natural and human-made. We recall our own personal calls to justice, with all the communities and identities we share, as well as those we seek to be in allyship with. We recall the pain of those displaced by war, empire, extreme weather, and extreme policy. Finally, we remember to hold ourselves with loving kindness each day. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole, and may we be part of making the world whole. As we breathe in, we are connected. As we breathe out, we are connected. May our minds create a vision of the world radical enough to be called holy. May our actions contain the promise of hope and the commitment to justice. May our hearts remember that love is a power that resists all forms of fear. By our thoughts, by our actions, by our hearts, by our very breath, may it be so.
thinking this month about resistance, and there's a lot to be said in these days for the political impact of people who are standing up and fighting and pushing back against all of the terribly wrong things that are going on, particularly in the United States. Resistance matters. And yet, it's also true that many of us have realized that resistance can also be exhausting, particularly when you feel like no one is listening, when the powers that be simply don't care what anyone thinks, that there's nothing that you can do to turn a tide that is so overwhelming. And then you have to figure out what to do, how to focus your resistance so that you actually feel like you are pushing and bending the arc of history towards justice. And it's hard. It's hard to stay in the battle. But there's another aspect of resistance that is, well, let's call it limiting. Because resistance, by definition, means that somebody else is setting your agenda. You're responding to something that someone else has put out in the world, pushing back against the force that is coming at you. And sometimes that force feels pretty much like a battering ram, and all of these little hands trying to shove back. But anytime that your energy is going toward resistance, it's energy that isn't being spent in setting your own agenda. You can have creative ways that you resist, but resistance in itself is not a force of creation. It's a force of pushing back as opposed to a force of imagination, of possibility. And so I wonder if, in addition to resistance, there might be something else that we could pursue that would be perhaps more lifting to our spirits, more encouraging of a sense of possibility, more embracing of what it is that we want to see in the world, as opposed to simply trying to fight back against the things that we don't want, which are so many in number, it turns out. And I don't know exactly what the word is for that action that isn't resistance. I kind of want to call it prosistence, which I know is not a word, but hey, let's try it for now. Because prosistence would be the act of making things new, of envisioning possibilities on your own and making them happen. The waves of young people and women and people of color entering politics are an act of prosistence. For instance, Charlotte, North Carolina, after all of its intense racial struggles of the past month, now has its first African-American woman mayor. Prosistence. Creating possibility. Envisioning something new. But I don't think that acts of prosistence necessarily even have to be political. I think anything that makes the world you want is an act of prosistence. I think that community choirs are prosistence, and pick-up basketball games where people get together to do something fun because they are together, and you take whoever arrives and play the game. Community gardens are an act of prosistence. Volunteer tutors are an act of prosistence. People who bring their dogs to libraries so that kids can read to the dogs are acts of creativity, of saying, this is the world that I want to live in. Even the very small things, a little free library, offering your neighbor a ride. All of the things that declare we are connected, we matter to one another. All of the things that create beauty, painting or sculpting or dancing, all of the things that are the elements of the world that you want are acts of prosistence. They're acts that feed our spirits, that remind us that we are the creators, that we aren't just the ones who are trying to stem a tide, that we are in fact the river, that we are moving together toward a world that we are determined is going to be more beautiful.
Always been a kid president. My first dream, I wanted to be a great inventor. I actually had a few pretty good ideas. It worked! My magnifying glasses. It helps you see things that you need to see. It also gives you headaches. A really good invention, it makes the world more awesome. Because the world is full of problems. There's also lots of problem solvers. Kids like Peyton. He's 11 years old and he invented retractable training wheels for bikes, sandless sandbags, and all sorts of stuff. And this awesome girl Brooke, when she was 12 years old, she created a video system to help owners stay connected to their dogs. What? Creating new stuff out of your brain could be hard, but I think I may have my next great invention. Every time when I try to clean the house, my cat goes crazy. The problem? He hates the vacuum cleaner. I want to solve this problem by making the first vacuum cleaner. To make this happen, I'm going to need some help. Time to meet with big-time inventors. They make crazy stuff here. Hello.
Hi.
I want to invent something.
You want to invent something? All right. First, you're going to need some safety glasses.
Cool.
All right. Let's show you around.
Do you have any corn dogs? How many days would it take to build this?
It takes about 18 days.
It would probably take me a whole year, actually.
You think so?
You know, I think if one of us was to try to build this by ourselves, it probably would take a whole year. We all just do a little piece at a time. You just put your little part on, and then I put my part on, and then together we just build this up together.
Hello?
Hey, where you come from? Hello.
I just came from here. How are babies invented? So I can be an inventor like you?
Certainly. It's all up to you. Anybody can do it. You just have to get a dream, get a goal, and go for it.
What are you inventing?
I'm inventing a vacuum cleaner that does not scare away my cat.
I like that.
Well, it's in my head, but won't come out to be what I want it to be.
Would it be a problem if it was slightly different?
No. Well, my invention is in my head, but I just can't make it real.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but there are plenty of avenues to go to help you out with that. I mean, there's, you know, your schooling that you did, you know, teachers I'm sure that you've met. There's, out on the web, there's a place called Quirky that can also help you get your help that you need.
Thanks for the corn dog, man. Did you have a good day here today?
Yeah.
Cheers.
It was really fun to meet them. I learned that scientists eat corn dogs, and some of them got really cool mustaches. I learned it's okay to fail. If you're afraid to mess something up, well, that's the first lesson of building something. That's what they all told me, bro. Well, the cat vacuum, probably need to go back to the drawing board on that one. Because the cat killed it. Killed it, like totally messed up his head. Totally okay though. It's okay to make mistakes. Not okay to stop. Gotta keep correcting. Gotta keep dancing. What invention will you make that will change the world? Seeing jet engines is always something that I wanted to do. So thanks to everybody at GE for letting me visit. To see more of the cool stuff that they're doing, click here. Bye! You can't see me.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I can.
I'm pretty sure you can't. You can't see me.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
How would it be if everything that you thought you knew was turned upside down, opposite from your point of view? How would you feel if the ground was really the sky, and all of this time you've been walking when you could have been flying? If you run 1,000 miles a minute, you can't expect to wear out a few pairs of shoes. If you forget how to love and take it for granted, you can't expect to wear out people close to you. What if all the birds were flying just to show us, and all the trees were really holding the sky up, and everything that you do matters somehow? What if heaven and hell was right now? How would it be if you really created your life? Stories you told, the good and bad, that they come alive. And how would it change if your words were like nails and wood? You build your house, but you forget that it's just a house. You can't rebuild it. What if all the birds were flying just to show us, and all the trees were really holding the sky up, and everything that you do matters in the end? What if all of our mistakes are forgiven? What if love is a lot of listening, a little bit of time, not pretending we are caught up in a world of daydreams? What if loving what you have is everything?
And now we come to that time in our service when we extinguish the flames that we've lit for this special time set apart. But never do we extinguish the flame that burns eternal. The flame of love, the flame of our commitment to a just and caring world. If you carry that flame, please touch your heart and say to yourself, I carry the flame, and allow that flame to burn bright.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Thank you.